This is a Poet Punch podcast.
And we're back for another episode. So,
Yes.
what number
Hello.
page are we going to get today?
Roll it.
All right, let's roll it.
Roll it.
I'm re-rolling that one.
What's the
'Cause
number?
It's 33, and that's like way too... We've had so many
I think
in the
we've done a
30s.
lot of 33s. Yeah, go on, re-roll.
13.
I think we've done
I
a
don't
13
think we've done
before.
13. I
But
don't
go
think
on,
we've done
do 13.
All right. So on C, which starts as Captain America,
Oh, big.
and the whole page
I didn't even think about Captain America with C.
ends at Carrion. So I don't know
Who's
who that
Carrion?
is. I don't know.
God.
There's a lot of Captain Britain.
Oh, I'm so. If we get a Captain Britain, you're not ready for me with Captain Britain. I have genuine ideas about Captain Britain that I previously expressed. Can I remember them right now? When the time is right? No, but
Right.
I have genuinely thought about Captain Britain.
Let's decide on a row, please.
2.
2. Okay.
Please, Captain Britain. Captain Britain. We got Captain Britain.
I'm going to read out. I'll just let you know that half of these are Captain Britain.
Yes.
And they're all the same Captain Britain as well. So half of these are Captain Britain. But there's also a fun one here as well.
I'm sorry. Go on. I'm actually ready for this.
Captain Atlas, Captain Axis,
Who are these?
Captain Barracuda, Captain Britain, and Captain Britain.
I feel like I'm getting sensory overload.
So
for this. What the fuck?
I'm going to describe Captain Atlas. I have no clue. Captain Axis is a bald man with a Nazi logo on his chest.
Like Axis powers.
Yeah,
I honestly assumed Axis is in like
the wheel of a car or something.
yeah, like grids, and like
yeah.
the planet. But no,
The X-axis, the Y-axis, and the German axis. So you want to get a number?
it's an X of sorts
Okay.
if you look at it from
So
a
I
certain
need you to.
angle.
I'm going to need you.
You
to,
know what I mean?
I'm going to need you to roll. And you want to get above a 3 or not a 2.
Would you? I can't control the dice.
Unlucky.
Please. 5.
5, Captain Britain.
Let's go!
Let's go.
Let's
All
fucking
right,
go!
all right.
Alright, so from the get-go, I already have one thing.
Okay.
The casting.
All right.
It's Henry Cavill.
Okay.
Yes. Because, like, think about it. He is perfect for that role.
Yeah, because
He's
like a James
just got
Bond
fired from
type.
superhero. Is in the lineup for James Bond. The only other person I would consider maybe would be Aaron Taylor Johnson.
But he's already done.
But that's in the Sony universe.
No, it's not. He was Quicksilver.
Oh fuck yeah. Okay, so he can't be in the MCU. So Henry Cavill, and I think there was like one other in my head, but like it honestly doesn't matter because Henry Cavill is the cast. Like,
Yeah. Okay, so Henry Cavill.
now I was about to suggest someone else that I realized was in the MCU. I was about to be like everyone's favorite Martin Freeman. Just shove him in there.
No. I mean,
Hello, I'm Captain Britain.
nah. Okay.
Nah, nah is the right response.
Okay.
Tom Holland. No. Hey guys, hello.
So I'm going to read Captain Britain out anyway.
Yeah, I
And
know.
I'm going to read
It's
the
brilliant,
I'm going to
but-
read the list from the Captain Britain that we got.
He's one of our favourites. He's so stupid.
Brian Braddock was a brilliant scholar
Engaged.
What's a scholar engaged?
A scholar who is
Oh
engaged
shit!
in
I
an
can't read.
activity. Yeah, you
sorry,
just can't-
sorry. Scratch that. Reverse it. I can't read. Brian Braddock was a brilliant scholar engaged in graduate work in physics at Thames University, London.
Real place, guys.
Yeah,
Thames University.
Not like King's College. Not like.
No, not like Queen Mary's or like anything like that. No.
I'm going to make one suggestion now.
Go on.
He is friends with the guy from Eternals, and
Oh yeah, Kit Harington,
and
right?
Moon Knight. Like
Sure.
the British Moon Knight.
Sure. I'm down for that.
They're like,
But
yo,
I'm
they're,
going to be saying things, right? You're not ready for this.
Okay, I think they are on a like quiz night team or something stupid.
I agree. I think that's a very smart idea, but you should finish reading that blurb. Go on.
One summer, shortly after his parents had been killed in an explosion in a laboratory at Braddock Manor, Brian went to work as a student research assistant at the Dartmoor Research Centre, a facility... Dartmoor.
Okay, amazing.
Research
So they just
Centre.
went Dartmoor, but scary.
A facility for secret nuclear research.
Fantastic.
Oppenheimer.
Fantastic.
Cillian Murphy.
Say that again. Cillian Murphy.
No, he
Irish,
he would,
but yeah.
he would never wear a Union Jack.
True.
How far do I need to read into this? Because this is like a lot of text.
Hey up, lads.
I don't do much reading.
I'm Wallace. Wallace and Gromit, but it's Captain Britain.
What are his...
Hire Ardnam Studios to make a plasticine man, and then imbue that plasticine man with the spirit of all of Britain.
Hold on a minute.
And then...
There's a story here where Captain Britain becomes king of England.
I'm aware. I know a lot about Captain Britain.
I don't know anything.
But the best bit is I know a lot of things, but it's like dislodged. So
Right.
All it's going to sound like is I knew that already at random parts
Okay.
of this. Are you familiar with the Captain Britain Corps?
No.
There are all of the Captain Britons know each other and have you know how we were making that joke with Octavius?
Oh, with the other Octaviuses?
Yeah, where there's a council of Octavius.
That's a joke from the Council of Reeds.
Yeah, so he has his own council of reeds, but it's kind of like the Green Lantern Corps.
Right.
It's sick. By sick, I mean stupid.
You're
as
gonna.
fuck.
I know very little about Captain Britain.
Excalibur is a big thing. I know as well. He wields Excalibur. I know another thing about him is that he is part of the Dark Avengers.
Okay.
So I think that we could jumpstart the Dark Avengers maybe by implementing Glyph.
Interesting.
Glyph, and also, hear me out, Moon Knight and
Blade.
Kit Harington.
And Blade.
Sure,
And
and
Kit
Blade.
Harington. Yeah.
But the main thing here is that I like the idea. What's that sword that Kit Harington has?
The
Ebony Blade or some
Ebony
shit?
Blade?
I really like the idea of Kit Harington be like, guys, I have this sword, and then Captain Britain be like, cool, I have fucking Excalibur.
What if we make
Checkmate.
What if we make Kit Harington the villain?
I'm down, sure. Why not?
Like in Infinite Warfare, the Call of Duty
all right,
game.
is he the villain in Infinite? I thought it was just your buddy.
No, he's the villain.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so...
Audience listeners, I'm occasionally playing Call of Duty and learning about all of this shit that's been happening.
Yeah, Nat played Black Ops and Black Ops 2 for the first time.
I haven't finished Black Ops 2 yet. I should do that.
You should.
I accidentally burned his face in that one thing.
Harper's face.
And I felt bad about it, so I kind of stopped playing for a bit. I didn't mean to as well. I was just speeding through the shit. I was going like...
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, watch out for the fire. And I'm like, what fire, buddy?
Yeah, go on.
Right, free.
Yeah.
Face scorched.
Right, anyway, no tangents. No tangents, please.
All right, fine. Be that way.
So, I'm kind of out of my depth here. I don't know a lot
I
about
just know
Captain
some
Britain at all.
shit. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to Google. I'm going to do some research.
So,
Don't you worry. I'm on this.
I'm seeing this movie as him ending up as King of England, right? I'm thinking like a Johnny English...
I'm okay with that. I think we should have it in the main timeline.
Yeah.
That's my main thing.
I'm seeing...
So what are the main things that have happened in... I think one thing to do to actually integrate it into the MCU...
Look at the things that have happened in Britain.
Deep down, look at the things that have technically happened in
That's
Britain.
easy. There's two things.
Are there really only two things?
Yep, there's Thor the Dark World
Spider-Man.
and Spider-Man Far From Home.
Nothing else happened in...
I mean, like, you've got the opening of Eternals and like a...
So there, yeah, shit's
and like a
happened in
splash
Camden,
of Moon... And
right?
a splash of Moon Knight, but like... like, nothing that's affected...
Yeah, nothing
Britain,
has deep down
if
affected...
you get what I mean.
Yeah, the UK.
Yeah.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
Because and then Doctor Strange was technically filmed in the UK, but,
and like he
it's
walks,
not set in the UK.
He goes to the London Sanctum once. He doesn't even exit out in London, I don't think. Or if he does, he's only in London for like a very like. In terms of things that people would remember,
yeah,
it's Thor: The Dark World, and then.
Do you know what's really funny?
Far From Home.
I'm very much not the first person to have suggested that Henry Cavill be Captain Britain. I feel like that's everyone on the internet by what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah. Doesn't mean it's wrong.
No, it's just the correct answer, to be honest with everyone. Like that, there is no...
So I'm, at the moment...
Because it's like, you've just got Superman. You've got British Superman. British Superman is no longer working for DC.
So I'm seeing this idea as him being a kind of... he's like from old money, but he's like actually gone into university and tried to...
one thing. He is born from royalty.
Yeah, I kind of gather.
So it's Lord James and Lady Elizabeth Braddock. He is Brian Braddock, and he has a younger twin brother. Oh, and he is the younger twin brother of the X-Men member Psylocke. Which one is Psylocke again?
Psylocke's in Marvel Rivals, I think.
Oh, is she the She's the sword lady.
Yeah.
But isn't she Japanese?
In some stuff.
Oh, and then in other stuff she's just British.
She might be like mixed race, like a
half
twin.
Mm.
But I think we're not going to do mutants yet, so...
Yeah, I think we keep it separate from mutants. That's a whole other ballpark for me. Like unironically, if I was sat in a room with Kevin Feige, I would immediately pitch
mutant stuff.
I would pitch a young coming-of-age Xavier School storyline. Yeah. But we know this already.
Mm.
Audience listeners don't know.
But
this,
we're not there yet.
Right.
Let's focus up. Who?
Yes. Brian was destined for greatness as orchestrated by the wizard Merlin. So a lot of his lore is integrated into Knights of the Round Table, King Arthur type stuff. He is essentially modern day King Arthur in a Captain America suit. That's his whole thing. That's why he's usually in things like Dark Avengers, because they're usually going for like supernatural old Earth type threats, while the Avengers deals with contemporary threats. That's kind of their whole thing. So he is usually dealing with like forces of evil that have been around for a while. So I think what we need is we do need a Merlin character. I think Merlin is essentially the equivalent of that Doctor in the first Avengers for him. Honestly, modelling him off what makes Captain America
like
good.
The Stanley Tucci character, you mean?
No, I meant like I meant the whole.
Boy, do I have a surprise for you about Transformers 5.
Sure, Stanley Tucci's in it. I don't care, man.
He plays Merlin.
Oh, that's brilliant. Anyway, but yeah, where was I with it?
I'm just now realizing that Transformers 5 really does just steal this plot line of the...
Yeah.
No, Transformers... You've not seen Transformers 5.
I mean, I'm just assuming. Like, Michael Bay just takes stuff. Like,
Transformers 5 is the Excalibur plot line. I'm not joking.
Yeah, sure. Like, but anyway, more importantly, what I was going to say is we should kind of understand the beats of the first Avenger and get why that did a really good job of establishing a character that was very rooted in a certain nation's core understandings, right?
So we have to make him like British.
I think we have to make him British in a way that isn't
isn't friendly
problematic
to America. But also isn't friendly to like an American. Like he needs to be British from a British perspective, not British from an American perspective.
Yes, for sure. Because a lot of the way that Captain Britain is written in the comics is from a US being like, oh, how do we deal with an old threat?
Crumpets, my lord.
Well, England's been around for a while, bit longer than the USA, innit?
Yeah.
So maybe he can deal with all the old shit.
They're so old.
Yeah.
What about a storyline where during
as Captain Britain faced a range of foes from assassins like the Slaymaster.
What about
the Slaymaster? Like Slay.
Okay.
And
No. I'm thinking that we do. It's a very Johnny English style plot against the royal family.
Oh, I know. I've got it. So you know how the Red Guardian was a response to the Captain America Super Serum?
Yeah.
And so they've kind of integrated the Red Guardian into the MCU through doing that, being like, how do you get this character into the plotline of Steve Rogers? Right, you do this. This is the UK's response to
Captain America. It would make sense as well because after World War II, the UK lost its grip on like the British, like the Britain lost its grip on the British Empire.
like in real history, Britain is like,
it would make
was
sense
a
that his
shell
like
of what it used to be.
It would make sense that his like grandfather or something was the first Captain Britain.
I wouldn't say that. I would say more. It's like an attempt at like finding nostalgia, almost. So it's kind of like reinventing nostalgia, being like, how do we get back to our former glory as a nation that used to be an empire? How do we get back to what used to feel great, theoretically?
Yeah.
And the answer is a superhero program,
right,
underneath like MI5 or something.
So is he a spy?
I would say he's maybe
Bond.
not a spy, but he's probably surrounded by spies, much like how Captain America is surrounded by SHIELD operatives.
Okay. So
he's kind of like this actual like paragon of like genuinely good British values, surrounded by
like
quite bad British values.
A bit like
Captain America is like an honest person who genuinely believes in freedom.
Yeah.
Surrounded by people who are high surveillance,
It's the... Yeah. So... What is...
I'm out here sounding like a fucking Tory minister, being like, British values.
Yeah.
What do they mean?
So what is our big... Who's our villain of this?
I'm still figuring that one out, I'm going to be honest with you. But...
Because I think it could absolutely... I mean, we could use Kit Harington.
Oh, God, he looks so fucking funny. Right, okay. So, number one, we got to get Henry Cavill doing some shit like this. Henry Cavill has to wear tweed.
Oh, yeah.
And he has to have a pipe in his mouth.
Yeah.
That is an important part of what we're doing here. Is we need to get really ripped, shredded Henry Cavill.
In a suit.
In a tweed suit, in a tweed jacket.
Welcome to Enola Holmes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
What he was doing in Enola Holmes, just repeat that for the contemporary world. And then he becomes Captain Britain.
So, because there is this whole stuff about him being a physicist as well. Like, he's not just a soldier, he's like an academic.
So what I would do, honestly, is I would change the fact that he is a physicist, and I would keep that he is a professor.
You're not pointing at your mouth.
I'm fairly close. Calm down. Calm down.
You're doing this, and this doesn't.
I can literally hear it in my headphones. I know when I can hear.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, back to this. I was trying to remember what I was about to say now. Right. So he is not a professor of, like, he's not a physicist. He is a professor of,
British history.
British history, and the Arthurian time. Maybe a local archaeologist. Because I think that's a really good way of introducing all of his all of the backstory, genuinely quite like.
Does it not make more sense to have that be Kit Harington's character, because that's what he is?
Well, I think I genuinely don't think we should have Kit Harington around for too long. I think it should more be they have technically worked in the same office as each other. I genuinely think, because I think Captain Britain should have more ownership of all of this shit.
But the whole Kit Harington thing is that he is from he's similarly from a long lineage of people that go back to...
Honestly, I can't remember enough of Eternals.
Right, I'll giving you a quick rundown.
Yeah.
The whole side Z plot of Eternals is that Kit Harington's character discovers that he has like an old family or he knows he's from like old money. and he finds out that his old family lineage leads towards the Ebony Blade, and he's like descended from the Black Knight.
So he is just Captain Britain. Low-key.
He's evil. The whole point
he's
is
just
that he's
evil
evil
Captain
Captain
Britain.
Britain. So he's the perfect villain
Do
for
you think
this.
they're actually going to do anything with that character in any of the
Probably not.
Eternals 2?
They're definitely not doing an Eternals 2.
Aren't they doing an Eternals 2?
They were going to do an Eternals 2. They're not going to do an Eternals 2.
So what the fuck are they doing with that character now?
We don't know. He'll probably be in the Blade movie.
Right, he's ours now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's ours now.
He's ours. So
okay, right. I still think Captain Britain should be a professor of like British history rather than a professor of physics.
But then that makes them exactly the same character.
Yes. Good.
No,
Good. What, like they're both people who are raised in like British lineages, who are interested in British culture, British history, and then one turns evil, one turns good. One accidentally soaks up all of like the bad virtues of Britain. The other one soaks up all the good virtues of Britain.
But I feel like...
But I don't know. I feel like Kit Harington is.
I feel like it makes more sense to have like one is like Kit Harington, the historian character, is more like we need to figure out is the Black Knight.
I just want to point out one thing on the wiki that's very funny. Sometimes they do just give up on spelling out Britain.
Yeah,
and they call him Captain UK.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Silly.
Yeah,
silly.
But so do you think that Kit Harington works as the villain, or is he like, the kind of character that you have as your side friend who becomes the villain in the second movie?
To be perfectly honest, I don't give a shit about Kit Harington's character, and
Right.
the only reason why I would even entertain having him in the plot is because he just happens to be quite good at history and has been previously introduced in the MCU.
Because what I'm seeing there then is that he could be like the nerdy character that knows more of the history than Henry Cavill does.
I remembered this. This was a thing. Right. There's MI13.
Right.
So he is involved in like scroll stuff, specifically to the UK.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what else. There's like a lot of very random bits of lore with Captain Britain.
Yeah.
Where he's just gone on so many frankly irrelevant adventures to the rest of the MCU timeline, but there are a lot of them, and a lot of them are interesting things to like grab at and then piece together and make something useful with. So I think MI13 is interesting. Excalibur's interesting. Oh god, I kind of, a little cynical bit of me wants to genuinely try and do the Captain Britain call.
No.
I think on,
no,
man.
No.
Coward.
I think
get every British person, every British like mainstream every BBC favourite.
No.
Claudia, get Claudia Winkleman to be one of the Captain Britons.
Do you want to
with the fringe secret? And everything?
I fucking hate British celebrities.
Get Bill Bailey. Get Bill Bailey to be one of the.
They're boring.
Get no. You know who you won't. Oh wait, no. I'm gonna. Fuck! Why am I forgetting his name? David Mitchell.
Okay.
Integrate David Mitchell into an MCU franchise somehow. I think this is the perfect way to introduce David Mitchell into the MCU. Come on.
No.
Come on, you know you have to.
No, but okay.
Him as Merlin.
Okay, but I'm really not a fan.
You know that's good. You know that's good. Deep down, you know that's good. Is it stupid sounding? Yes, but it cooks. It cooks. Merlin.
I will allow him as Merlin, but I will not allow the Captain Britain core.
Oh, so much to think about.
I think, right.
You'll never allow Captain Britain core, will you?
No.
Because you're a coward.
I'm not a coward.
You're a coward.
I think
You know what? I won't bring up Captain Britain core again until episode 20 of this. That's what's happening.
That's
what's
fine.
happening.
That's fine.
You know,
that's fine because he can be the.
You get some respite for now. You get some respite for this episode,
right?
And I bring that back.
That's fine. I already know how I would use it. So okay,
great.
So so I think personally,
right,
we can. There's a very bold move we can try and do here. Which is that you redo Secret Invasion with the Skrulls.
What do you mean by you redo Secret Invasion?
So,
as in, like Secret Invasion is no longer canon to the MCU?
No. Secret Invasion happens. But what is it like from the perspective of, like... So, to spoil Secret Invasion... Secret Invasion ends with an attempt on the president's life. This is not President Thunderbolt Ross, by the way. This is a different president. Like, stop. You need to stop scrolling and actually listen.
The time runs out bit.
I know, but
fine.
So, Secret Invasion ends with an attempt on the president's life that is stopped by Nick Fury, and the president thanks Nick Fury by declaring war on all aliens on Earth.
Every single one.
Yep.
So, like, if Thor comes back to Earth, is he getting attacked now?
He publicly declares war, but then I think the assumption.
How far does that go?
Wait. The assumption is that he's done this right before the U.S. election, because that's what's said in the show.
Oh,
and that he fucking loses the election,
and that's how
President Ross gets in. And President Ross gets in by running off of just the idea by being normal. But it's President Ross who's like...
that's kind of actually very believable now.
Yeah.
That's actually a really believable way as to how someone like Ross could actually get in office.
But him saying that there are aliens in society that look like us, I think we can absolutely do that perspective from a Britain thing.
Right.
And we make the royal family Skrulls. Like, we make the Queen / King. So
it'll be the King.
It's Charles. And his like family and Camilla, but not Diana, are all Skrulls.
Wait, when is this set? Present day, surely.
It's set.
Hold on.
No. Phase 4. Yep, that's good enough.
Sure.
Phase 4 or 5, like, I don't care.
It's about that, right, yeah.
But I think we do it in a way where what we do is what Secret Invasion should have done was not be called Secret Invasion. It should have been called like the Nick Fury or something like that. And the Skrull thing was a secret that like the Hydra thing is that you have it be that's the secret. And so we do a show where we don't, it's not marketed and it's not done that like it's the Skrulls have taken over.
Sure. And then slowly we have it that the Skrulls are in. I don't
because this lands.
I think do a short like if maybe the Skrull, because like the Skrulls are a part of Captain Britain's story, right?
Right.
In the comics, so I think at least a nod to Secret Invasion is good. A full integration of Skrulls into the plotline, I think is bad.
I want this to end with Captain Britain as king of England.
I think as long as the Skrulls get rid of the monarchy, and then there's a genuinely empty void
that he then becomes. Yeah, it's like so much of the royal family
is wiped out that it is basically start from scratch, get a new monarch.
But it's not start from scratch. It's that he's then the closest.
So he's technically part, like as a lord, he is technically part of the.
Well, because he's it's like they
he's
do,
like the 30th
That's what I
down.
mean. That's what I mean by the Johnny English thing, of like of like the whole. So the plot of Johnny English, which is a dumb spy movie with the guy who plays Mr. Bean. Rowan
Atkinson. Who are you explaining this? I know
You've seen it?
Yeah, I've obviously.
You were looking at me like you didn't know what Johnny English was.
No, I was looking at you thinking, why the fuck are you explaining what Johnny English is?
I was looking at you because I thought that you'd. Okay, anyway. But essentially, we do the thing of like this obscure character. We establish that he's got like royal family ties, but he's not close. But then the reveal. So that's like our little setup, and the reveal is that since the end of World War, since like the 90s,
Right.
The Skrulls came in and replaced like the majority of the royal family, and if you like, the only lineage that it works to is going down the Braddock family.
I like British Skrulls, as in like they're almost like a separate group from the
Secret Invasion ones.
Yeah, they're like a different ship of Skrulls.
Yeah, and that way you can have Olivia Colman come back.
What was her whole deal?
She was Secret Service, like British Secret Service.
What was that called? In the MCU,
I'm pretty.
Was it MI13 or was it something else?
She can move about.
Well, we could have her eventually. Yeah, we could have her move to MI13 by the start, or we could just say that whatever they're doing with MI13 becomes like MI6 in the story. This is great. I'm in the mood for this one as well because I watched Mission Impossible last night.
Which one?
1. I'm gonna go watch 2 next.
Damn.
And then 3, and then 4.
She's MI6, so she could be moved to
MI13. I think that's a really good cold open. Is that you essentially have a character that people know, kind of, being introduced to MI13 maybe underneath MI6.
Yeah.
And not quite being aware that she's being promoted to this thing that's like a...
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same, like your mission.
Oh, I was going to
think...
wait, so is it her that gets moved? Because I thought the idea could be that she sets it up after the end of Secret Invasion.
I think just for the sake of character, like plot progression.
So I'm thinking of her hold on. From.
I agree with that, but I think it's still there should be some like higher up that technically is setting up MI13, and she doesn't even know who that person is.
Mm.
And then she essentially becomes the M of that organization. But at the beginning, we are essentially being introduced to the concept of MI13.
Okay.
And MI13 may have been like keeping tabs on the royal family.
Yeah.
For years, being like, well, our true purpose is to serve the nation of Britain, regardless of the intentions of the monarchs.
Okay.
The same way, like maybe if we're getting really pedantic as to like how that happened in terms of like historical context, maybe that was getting established in like the 1700s or like the 1600s. When there would have been a genuine conversation of like some like Whig or Tory would have been like, we need to have safety protocols as to how
I think it would be after World War One, because World War One is basically all caused by 3 cousins going to war with each other.
Oh, and the royal family gets the country gets pissed off and they're like, what do you mean we got dragged into something that killed every big,
so kind of like
famous
person, you know how
like in Kingsman,
I was thinking like Kingsman, how Kingsman is. World War One really was the first event that like broke down what upper middle and lower class meant, because everyone had someone.
Yeah,
and this is something that they set up then, like Kingsman. But it's designed to like have like Britain's best interest at heart, and if you really want, you can have it be that they were the ones who were like have been influencing politics to move away from like British Empire stuff. Or
well, wait, if you genuinely wanted to do that, you would have to start in the 1600s.
Yeah.
So it's either the World War One concept, or
I think the World War One concept is better because it's more recent.
Because also, especially because it's easier to tell people, because it's like, well, people know about World War One.
Yeah.
People are not going to know about
the
intricacies
then
of
from
the
there,
1600s.
So we've now established like MI13. Does Brian Braddock already work there?
I think we introduce him later. So hold on. So to me, I think the main thing is we're establishing is Olivia Colman is important, and she's the way that you kind of introduce UK and Skrulls into the plotline. And so she's doing something there. And I think it's some like that is essentially so MI13 getting established. Mm-hmm. That is essentially, if we're going for the same like roadmap as Captain America, that is S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Right? That is S.H.I.E.L.D., but S.H.I.E.L.D. with like built-in tech. Like it's almost like if
It's the SSR
if like
thing
Shield
or
was
whatever.
made in like retaliation to a version of Hydra almost.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, well the mainstream secret services don't really operate for the actual
Good at the
Britain,
country.
but
Yeah.
the betterment of the country. They operate for Queen and country or King
Yeah.
and country. They just operate for country. So you have that integrated into the plotline. So MI13 / Shield with the Skrulls. I then think Brian Braddock should be separate, and I think what you should do is that you should say that Lord Braddock or Lady Braddock used to run it. She or he used to be M.
Right. Yeah.
And then Olivia Colman is the new M.
Yeah.
Right?
Or you just do that Brian Braddock's parents are killed and then they're moved in.
Yeah. So it's essentially kind of like the same way that the Gentleman or shows like that operate, where suddenly you inherit the estate.
Yeah.
And you inherit all of these newfound responsibilities, and you think, oh, well, it's just a title that I get in the UK, and it's how I get all of this land, and la 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 la. And yes, it might be a pain to like operate the facilities or whatever. Then finding out, oh, right, I actually have now been bestowed upon this.
Oh, so this is Brian Braddock.
I think Brian Braddock is previously a professor. That's how he gets to be a professor without suddenly having so much on his plate that he would not be able to get any sort of degree.
What do you mean?
Well, okay, if you started off as an MI13 operative at that level, you'd either kind of get out of like how the MI6 used to recruit people. You'd probably get recruited from leaving university at 21. You wouldn't be a professor.
Yeah.
Or like
I think you just have it. I think you just have it that his parents were both. His parents are both agents.
Have been around for a while, and he's probably in his 30s.
Yeah, and they've
how
kept
old is Henry Cavill? Like 40?
Yeah,
he's around that.
I would
age.
just have it that like he doesn't know that this is the job his parents have had. They've kept it secret from him.
I also think a good way to make him different from Captain America is to make him nerdy, like to make him actually nerdy.
Yeah.
About the stuff that he's interested. Like, I can see people kind of immediately dismissing him, being like, "Guys, have we thought about Excalibur? Have we thought about Merlin?" And then everyone being like, "Shut the fuck up!
Yeah.
Why are you talking about Arthurian legend?
Well,
we're dealing with Skrulls right now." Like,
it would be a good. I think you can do. You can do something where. I think this is a movie. This isn't a show.
Yeah, no, this is 100% a movie.
I think you can do something where Olivia Colman's character is bringing him in, despite him not knowing about it and being late to it all, because she feels that it's like the whole sense of continuity thing. It's like, hey, a Braddock has always been involved in this since its inception.
I think that's good, but also she's genuinely losing people to trust.
Right.
Because the Skrulls are so well integrated into the upper echelons of British society that it is just like, we don't have that many people left. You are now involved by default because you are one of the few people who is not a Skrull.
Wait, the Excalibur test, the Skrulls can't pick up. It's like Thor's hammer, the Skrulls can't pick up Excalibur.
I don't know how Excalibur operates in the MCU, but obviously Arthurian legend, it's a sword and a stone.
Yeah, but I would have it that
Oh, hold on.
Excalibur can only be wielded by a member of that lineage.
You know how in 4 they make that New Mexico facility around Thor's hammer briefly?
It's made around the...
I genuinely think we should have MI13 be made physically around a sword in the stone.
Right.
And that in of itself is underneath
right, but
the MI6 building.
No, but I think the way that it should work is that, you know how ceremonial swords work for military?
Kind of. But
so for like ceremony, you have this, like, even now they like
you have
an officer may still have a sword, but they don't use it. The Braddocks, whether it's Father Braddock or Mother Braddock, it probably needs to be it probably needs to be Father Braddock if it's lineage, right? It could be whoever is able to wield and has used the sword before, but hasn't been like Captain Britain or anything.
Oh, so it's kind of like a state property that occasionally gets
but
used
it can only,
in times of genuine need.
But it can only be wielded by the descendants of Arthur,
who happens to be the Braddock family.
Because even the like...
Is that how it works in Arthurian stuff?
It doesn't...
Is it linear? Yeah, we can make some shit up. Yeah.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, it's the MCU.
It's how it works in Transformers 5.
Sure.
So...
We're going for the Michael Bay school of philosophy. Okay.
And so... she knows that she can always trust Brian Braddock, if he can wield the thing. Because it's like the scrolls can copy your DNA, but they can't copy the like actual magic that
they can't copy the magic vibes,
the magic thing.
Ooh,
and that becomes like
Merlin.
Yeah,
we could just say that Olivia is Merlin.
No, because that's taking from Kingsman too much.
Oh yeah, it kind of is, yeah.
But
man.
But I think that we have it that... oh,
yeah, because bald man.
It's unlike being worthy with Thor, it's like a direct lineage thing, which is what's scary about it, is that, like, if you're an evil person, but you're from that lineage, you can still wield...
Yeah.
Excalibur.
Sure.
So it's better to keep him safe and keep him in the fold.
Right, okay.
For like, this is the thinking of MI13 is it's better to keep him in the fold, and he's like
I quite like that Olivia Colman is learning all of this because she's kind of inheriting this newfound role, newfound job, and she's going like, why are we doing high level security surveillance on this just random Oxford professor or something, right? And then they're like, well, that is King Arthur's great grandson. Arthur's real, yes, etc. But like that's the way you make it be known to the audience that all of this, like, because this is essentially vast amounts of lore that we're going to have to quickly dump into an action movie. So that's also the thing that you gotta like accept, is that a lot of this has to be like done fast, or passively,
right? But we have to decide now, though. Is this dumped to Olivia Colman or is this dumped to Brian Braddock?
I think both is the answer. Hold on, both is the answer, because you need a pepper, like you need to pepper it in. You need to make the audience ask questions while you're introducing Brian Braddock the character versus Brian Braddock Captain Britain. So you need Olivia Colman there to essentially be like a starting to ask questions that then makes the audience go, oh yeah, why are they doing that?
Oh, this could all be in a cold open of the episode.
Yes,
of the movie.
Yeah. So that's how that's happening. Kind of like how the cold open of Captain America: The First Avenger is them finding
the Tesseract.
him and the Tesseract under the ice, or the shoes.
Oh yeah.
Right. It's like, how did that happen? Oh yes, this does connect to present day. How does it connect to present day? What's going on? Oh, but I'm kind of invested in this Steve Rogers character. What's he doing? Right? That kind of thing.
So how does Brian Braddock get folded in to the story?
I think the scrolls essentially bring everything up to like it speeds all of the process up of what you would otherwise be like this is just someone we're keeping tabs on because just in case everything goes badly, we might have to bring him in. Yeah. Suddenly the scrolls invade.
Because it's
to bring him in.
Oh, because they're like, it's our number one test of, like, we don't know who's real and who isn't.
That's probably the thing. I think that's something that happens circumstantially, is that they're probably like scrolls invade, oh shit, we need to bring everyone that we can in. So all of these, like, otherwise high-level individuals, like they could be calling upon, like, I don't know, the Sanctum Sanatorium in the UK, or all of those different things. Those are all different contingency measures that they have ready. Yeah. And this is just one of them. And then they're bringing people in, and everyone keeps like falling to the scrolls. The scrolls are actually quite aggressive. And then suddenly they get Captain Braddock, they get Brian Braddock into the facility, and they don't quite know whether or not he's a Skrull or not. We probably don't even know whether or not he's a Skrull at that point. And that is the way that they prove.
Is it he's like... Okay. And so the Captain America getting the serum moment is him pulling the sword out of the
Him pulling the sword out of the set, yeah. I could even see that we just don't do serum.
Yeah, I know. I don't think he needs it. I think the sword gives him the power.
I think because like the serum idea was cool initially, but like honestly, the sword is enough. Especially because you can say the sword's imbued with powers that makes you have metahuman-like strength when wielding it.
But when you're
done, you're just back to being a professor.
It's like Shazam, but if you hold a certain object.
I quite like that.
That can be good as well, because then it's like the number one thing. His big weakness is dropping the sword.
Yeah.
Can he call the sword to him like Thor?
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of the Thor dynamic. It's not, are you worthy? It's just, like it's not, can you wield it? It's, you need to wield it in order to be powerful.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you are but a twig.
And I think the way it should work is that the second that somebody who's not of the lineage touches the sword, it like just upright digs into the ground, and so it's like the sword in the stone is its like defense mechanism.
It's its default state almost.
Yeah, like so. The base is built around the stone. It's built around the stone.
Yeah,
and when
which just happens to be the last place that someone dropped it.
Yeah.
Because it was like the last time that Britain actually needed to consider the idea of getting some random holy
Braddock,
Avenger.
And the Braddock parents could have wielded it.
Probably unlikely. I genuinely think unlikely. It hasn't been a while. Like, it hasn't.
No. What I mean is they physically could have wielded it.
Yeah.
But like never found a need to.
Yeah.
And they were quite like sticklers for the rules of like, hey, this is a in case of emergency break glass. Kind of situation.
It's technically my family heritage, but this is like.
Now I don't want to touch the Super Scrolls again.
The Super Scrolls?
So the Super Scrolls are scrolls that can also change have the powers of other.
Oh yeah, we don't care.
But I think the idea of doing it's close to a spy thing.
Spy adjacent. The same way
like
the Winter Soldier is spy adjacent.
It's like,
but it's still an action movie deep down.
The start of Captain America 1, with like the first act of Captain America 1, with like acts 2 and 3 of Winter Soldier,
kind of, yeah.
And we need another scroll twist. But I think that the way we do it,
I think I know the scroll twist.
What? He's saying Olivia Colman.
Kit Harington
has been a scroll.
Kit Harington's just there and has been a scroll this entire time. That's it. That was the end of Thor. I don't know. I feel like okay. Oh, I know what I was about to say before, and I think it is quite good, and it's gonna completely derail everything.
Right.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, when he's in the Dark Avengers, I think he does fight Cthulhu at one point. Just saying. That's pretty sick. That's all.
It is, but it's a bit too. I think we're going for a grounded mythological thing.
I think we are. I think the main concern I have is that Captain Britain is kind of fundamentally a very magic, supernatural, mythological type character, and we've put him in a very grounded, scroll-based fight. So how do we weave in a bit more of that mythos into it? I like the idea of the Skrulls kind of being the initial threat, and then it's actually something bigger. So like the same way that like
so it's like the royal family are Skrulls. This much is true.
Yes,
but they aren't.
That's how the story kickstarts.
Yeah.
It's
he could even have the briefing of being like, we suspect that one or multiple members of the royal family might be Skrulls, and it's really hard to tell, and we aren't favored by them, so it's going to be difficult to get to them, and then we can have the reveal in the midpoint be that like the whole royal family has been Skrull have all been replaced by Skrulls.
What's that noise? Are you?
Not me.
That was weird. Could you not hear it? It's you.
That right.
Right.
Okay. Anyway. But Yeah, and then
okay, so the idea of the royal family being replaced with Skrulls. I think one thing that we should maybe do initially, before I then continue my point, is make this be an alternate universe where there is a different type of monarch, so people don't go, "Oh, you're defaming Charles."
No, fuck it. Do it real.
Sure,
do it real.
but okay. And then my next point was going to be that Charles is still Charles. He's just evil. So maybe there's like a long lineage with the Windsor family,
from Germany,
where they're fucking evil for some reason. But do you see where I'm going? Where it's like, oh, we think that they're imposters.
I think
among
we just.
us.
I think.
I think
we just. I think we just say.
And actually,
we just say the king, and we don't ever say King Charles.
Yeah. I think it's ambiguous king.
Yeah, like how
in
Far From Home they say the Queen, but they don't actually like.
Yeah, and in Captain America currently, it does not have a president that is representative of Joe Biden or Donald Trump or anyone recent. It's just a generic man.
Yeah.
So why not do the exact same thing for the royal family in the UK? Just to be safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. So if maybe Cthulhu's not the right.
But something mythological, I think, is the main thing going on here. If we can tie it back to something mythological in the MCU currently, that would be brilliant.
I'm going to have a quick read through. Yeah, this is tough. This is tough because I don't know who Captain Britain's yeah, I don't know who Captain Britain's villains are.
Neither fucking do I. It's mostly that he works in the Dark Avengers, I think.
Right.
And then the Dark Avengers. I think genuinely part of the problem with comic book Captain Britain
is that he isn't.
Is that he is fundamentally a reactionary gimmick character in response to Captain America.
Yeah.
And that means that he doesn't really have an arc. His arc usually is what is the main MCU timeline. Like he is probably like one of those genuine victims of wider MCU things happening. Like how Spider-Man is doing something and then suddenly an MCU major Avengers level threat happens in the comic books.
Yeah.
And it derails whatever arc that writer was going for. This seems to be a common occurrence with Captain Britain where
he's just pulled into other
stories.
Where
it's kind of like he seems to be just about doing his own thing, and then suddenly it's like how do we show what's going on in the UK during time runs out? You see what I mean? Where it's
so are you thinking time runs out?
No. I'm just giving that as an example of a time where suddenly something very crucial to the mainline plot of the Marvel comics drags whatever was going on with his very specific niched background to a close, right? So he's kind of almost constantly suffering from this. So it's very hard to pinpoint.
Well, what if that's the plot of the movie then?
Is that Britain keeps on being involved in things that it shouldn't be involved in?
More and more shit keeps happening while he's in
Can you not hear the siren?
Yeah, I can.
Sorry,
yeah, but I'm trying to ignore it. But actual ADHD.
Go on.
So I'm trying to see if there's a way where part of the story of this is that it's hard to even be able to be allowed to be focused on one threat when
there's so much
stuff is happening. And so it starts with the Skrulls, and the reveal of the royal family may happen by the end of Act 1.
Oh, I know how to do this. Right. So I think we set it around because I think Doctor Strange 2 and Secret Invasion roughly the same phase, right? They're the same phase.
No.
Are they not the same phase?
Doctor Strange 2 is phase 4.
And what's Secret Invasion?
Secret Invasion's phase 5.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
All right.
Secret Invasion
what I was going to suggest was you start with the Skrulls, as like threat 1, and then like threat 2 is like some random shit happens with the Sanctum Sanatorium in the UK, and he's got to deal with that now. So it's like constantly he's being this B-plot character to other people's bullshit going on in other people's plots, and he's tired.
Or like he keeps getting reassigned by MI13.
Yeah, MI13 is constantly going, well, now because of the Skrulls, you are one of our only lines of defense in the UK.
Yeah.
Therefore, you've got to do everything. And him being like, guys, I didn't even do combat training. I didn't do basic combat training. All I have is the blood through my veins. That means I can technically pick up a magic sword.
I still think the Black Knight is our best like villain.
Mate, I think he's a good villain, but I think like it really needs to be thought out as to how and why.
So, to me,
because the main thing selling me on the Black Knight is that he seems to be much like lots of good things and other bad things like Morbius. He's kind of like a villain who is very similar and yet counter.
Yeah.
Like Reed Richards and Doctor Doom, both smart, both genuinely have like an obsession with pioneering research, right?
Yeah.
One is good, one is evil by most people's metrics, right? What makes the Black Knight evil compared to Captain Britain? How do we also, because he's also like, he's not seen as a villain in Eternals, right?
No.
Is there any like cluing in?
Yeah, the sword, the ebony blade talks to him in like a kind of cursed little voice,
right?
And it's seen as when he opens up and goes to get it, it's done as like this is a bad thing.
This is a bad thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it could be.
I can't wait to introduce Blade into this movie somehow.
I don't think we're going to get Blade here.
Do you want the good news or the bad news?
The good news.
The good news is there's some bad news.
What's the bad news?
We're an hour in.
Okay.
We're an hour.
Okay, right.
We have not cracked the surface on this one, but I do love
tough.
this one.
This is tough. Again, I don't mind these episodes being longer if they have to be.
No, I quite like it. Yeah.
I really think it should be him. So let's look at his motivation from the end of Let's look at his motivation from the end of Eternals.
Right, you will have to explain that to me. So I genuinely cannot remember.
He is trying to find Cersei, the main woman from Eternals,
who's the lady in Humans.
Yeah,
right?
And she is taken by Arishem,
and that's the thing that happens on Greenwich Park.
Yeah,
audience listeners, we live in South London. So we like Greenwich Park.
So I think that he develops this anti-alien mindset, kind of like the how
UK,
like how Hawkeye fucking loses it during the blip and starts killing people to try to avenge his family or whatever.
So he kind of gets very
he becomes very hunting down aliens, being what do you know about the Celestials?
I don't think that quite makes sense because the Celestials are aliens. So he's essentially been good friends with an alien for a while.
Well,
I guess it's very different if it's someone who's been around since literally the dawn of human civilization.
What do you know about Celestials? Eternals and Celestials not the same thing.
I know.
So, what do you know about Celestials? And some of the aliens will know about them. Some won't. But he's been he helps them hunt the Skrulls, but he's doing it. So at the start of the film.
Oh, that's really good. So he's essentially what's the guy who does the gadgets in James Bond?
Q.
I think he's a good Q adjacent character.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like these two characters are being forced into roles that they're not quite used to.
Yeah.
So he's being forced into this kind of supervisor research role. And Braddock is being forced into the kind of action jock hero role where he's really not used to it. He's a tenured professor or whatever, right? And then even Olivia Colman is kind of
being
forced into a kind of advisory high position role.
Yeah, she prefers to be an active department. She prefers to be a spy dealing with human spy stuff,
and she's now got to deal with aliens, swords, other random shit.
So I think So Captain Britain is more of an expert on the actual history, and Kit Harington's character is more of an expert on actual like historical artifacts and like the rumored magic. And
right.
So he is that. So he is in that queue, and maybe
he's more of a this is the literal thing in front of me, and I can do research on this.
I would say,
whereas Braddock has probably read a lot of fucking books.
I would say
and knows what
being the Black Knight and basically the sword talking to him.
Yeah.
Means that the sword is able to like maybe not just tell him, but he has the ability to know what magic items do.
Right.
And so that he's basically being used as
one thing that we are forgetting.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think we need to add it.
Mm-hmm.
We need Merlin in some way, shape, or form. I think he's genuinely too integral in terms of what's going on in the comics with Captain Britain for us to be like, but he doesn't quite fit the plotline. You get what I mean?
Unless Merlin
it's annoying.
Merlin is our villain.
I don't know. I like the Black Knight being the villain. Now that we've established how he can kind of be integrated.
But what if so Merlin is a person who's lived for a very long time. What if
probably pretending to
so
much like an eternal.
So he could be someone who knew the Eternals.
Right.
Who's to say? And he could also be someone who sided with Arthur the whole time, has fought with the Black Knight, but over the years has started to regret his decision of who he sided with in those times.
Wait, so hold on. Sorry, I got a bit distracted in the head. Did he make Excalibur?
Merlin? No.
I quite like the idea of him making Excalibur. So essentially, he's like, I trust this individual, King Arthur.
Well, maybe he's the one.
I now invent the sword.
Yeah.
Sword is then this magical gizmo.
Or he makes both of them. Maybe he makes he makes Excalibur and
he makes the Ebony Blade and Excalibur, and these kind of like two different.
And then there's the Black Knight.
He's kind of like Sauron for the MCU now, but I kind of like that.
I'm thinking more of like
in a very vague way.
I'm thinking more of like the wizard from the Shazam movie, like the.
All right. Like he's probably as goofy as that.
Yeah, like giving you the, like he creates the sword.
Yeah.
And. Maybe it's more like a Saruman role.
Saruman.
Where like, he's created these swords, but he's like, I will never wield them. Right. Because they'll corrupt me, and I like the power is too much for me as a wizard to also have these swords. These swords are built for these people.
He's kind of I kind of see him more like an Odin.
Maybe.
Like the same way that Odin is used in the 4 stories in the MCU.
Right.
It's kind of like that, where it's kind of like the sins of the past a lot of the time.
Are we overcooking with how many mentors we can give one character?
I don't think we have that many. I think we essentially have one mentor here. It's Merlin. And then Olivia Colman is not a mentor. Olivia Colman is his boss.
Right.
So it's the same way that like in Captain America you have the Doctor, and then you have the General.
Right.
It's that to me.
I'm wondering then. Do we
Ebony Blade Man is Kit Harington is essentially your Peggy Carter.
I'm wondering then. Do we
love interest?
Do we shelve Ebony Blade Man being the villain? He's still in the movie, but do we give him like a Mordo from Doctor Strange kind of role, where he's the person who gets disillusioned at the end of the story?
I could see that for sure. Yeah, and then we have a different friend.
And he's like, I've worked with you guys for over a year now, and I'm nowhere closer to uncovering anything about the Celestials.
I'm gonna try and
Merlin is our main villain.
I think we've got a lot of like the intricacies between all of these different characters, even if we've been bouncing off different ideas conceptually. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw down acts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Right. I think Merlin has to be our villain, actually. Because then you've got
I can see Merlin being a tinkerer back in the day who then gets corrupted by.
I think just by living for so long.
Yeah.
You're like, you get to the point where you're like, none of these people really matter. Like, you guys will be
and
dead.
It's still David Mitchell.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
actually, hold on.
Like, you guys are going to be dead.
Has David Mitchell done serious roles?
I don't know, but this could be our first
Honestly,
one. Where
I think he could try.
I think the idea of like you like him, like he comes across as very like bubbly and fun, silly
yeah,
Merlin.
He's like a goofy little Merlin.
Yeah,
and then he is genuinely under the surface.
And then the reveal. What if the reveal is that he's the one who's been like he's like doing a Palpatine, and has been like telling the scrolls how to get in charge of the royal. He's the one who's been like directing.
So he's the whole reason why the scrolls have been
in the royal family,
able to understand the intricacies of British politics this quickly.
Because he created British.
He essentially created all of the errors of British politics, and guided Britain.
And that's the real role that he's had throughout history.
Yeah,
is not as the leader, but as the
he's
puppet
probably
figure.
the reason why MI13 is a thing. And so MI13 deep down, like how SHIELD thinks it's deep down doing a better stuff for the betterment of humanity, but is Hydra.
Yeah,
MI13 probably thinks it's doing stuff despite the Queen and country.
Yeah,
for the betterment of the UK, but ultimately it still works in the shadows, and it still is doing nefarious things without any countermeasurements or balances inside, and that's all because Merlin intended it to operate that way.
Merlin has been in control of the royal family for like hundreds of years.
Yeah, I quite like this.
And then like in secret,
because you essentially still get the mentor who is teaching someone a thing storyline, and you still have a bit of heart there, but you do also just have a villain that is more connected to the stuff like Excalibur in the Captain Britain plotline.
Maybe we have Kit Harington is somebody who's already part of MI13 from the beginning of the movie. And the Ebony Blade is in like a device thing.
So,
and
it's like, kind of like hold on, we're doing a pause on the Ebony Blade stuff, establishing Eternals. It's in a thing. He asked Olivia Colman / MI13 for help because he realised things were going badly.
You can establish that like, hey, this thing is a corrupting force, and I figured out that it was bad within like a few days of holding it.
Yeah, it was like I had the worst 2 weeks of my life.
Yeah.
And now I went to the CIA,
and
MI13 is also keeping tabs on me, quite understandably,
so
because I got corrupted by a sword.
And he's like, I thought I could do more help by actually working with them.
Are you ready for? Because I think we're getting to the point where we can do a quick act breakdown. Are you ready for what the 5-act structure is essentially?
Yeah.
So we have Act 1, exposition.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what we said with the Olivia Colman stuff.
Yeah.
Then we have rising action, Skrull invasion.
Yep.
Captain Britain becomes Captain Britain.
I think by Act 3...
Climax is Act 3.
Yeah, he puts down this Skrull thing. And then I think what you do is that it's seeded in moments where they allude to, this isn't what he told us, this isn't what he said would happen. And things like, where it's like, clearly these guys are not the top of the table. They're not the leaders.
There's an allusion to something higher. That he doesn't quite know what that is, but there is an allusion to something.
And then
falling action is him trying to work out what that is.
And the way that he finds out that it's Merlin. So Merlin can be this side goofy character that's just there.
Yeah, David Mitchell.
And he's like, you're the magic item.
Hold on. Why did the David Mitchell pitch work?
I don't know.
That's so funny because I said that as a bit, and now it does actually work.
You have it that throughout the movie, he's just the guy who hands out items, and he said, nobody can wield Excalibur, not even me. I'm not allowed to wield it, and I don't wield the Ebony Blade because it's dangerous, and like if it falls into my if I get it, I don't know if I'll be able to control the power that it has.
I've got a good one. So I think ultimately this is kind of like Merlin's whole thing essentially is you don't get to dictate what's going on here, Captain Britain, because ultimately I made you. I made the equipment that you use to be even remotely powerful. Like there is nothing about you that is like new, and kind of like the same way that Red Skull has his whole identity complex. I can see Merlin then going, fuck it, I'll do it myself. and grabbing the Excalibur, and then there is only one sword left in the building. Captain Britain has to use the Ebony Blade to defeat Merlin at the end.
Really?
Which causes consequences for Captain Britain 2 or whatever the next thing is, right? Because now you have 2 tenured professors that are corrupted by a sword.
But why?
I think that's more of a... Well, I see it as Merlin needs to try and... Like I feel like Merlin, after so many years of saying, I will not touch this thing that I made, probably has a snapping point. And that is how you have an actual, like, crisis, is, like, that kind of high-level...
He should just take the Ebony Blade, then.
I think he sees the Ebony Blade as his failed work, and he sees Excalibur as the perfect work.
Oh, right.
And so he's obviously going to take the cooler sword.
Right. I do like that, like the idea that Captain Britain finds out about Merlin being more maybe sinister than he's realized.
Yeah.
Is by looking through, like, he's like done and he's like looking through, like, or he's like walking through a museum with paintings and stuff.
Yeah.
And like in one of the paintings of like the royal family is just like there's Merlin is one of the people in the court, or like it's clearly him.
Yeah.
And then there's like other things where he's a member of he's a member of parliament in like the 1800s, and it's like realizing that
he knew that he was around for all this time, but he seems to be on this side of history at this time, and this side of history at this time, and he was in that room and he did this choice, and that's why we did this, and that's something that a character who has studied history would understand. He would go, oh right, the context of this is that was a bad decision from the UK did, or the UK made. Oh right, he pushed for that. Interesting.
My one resistance to Merlin using the sword,
right,
is that I think it's cooler to have Captain Britain with Excalibur fighting off Merlin, who is using just magic.
I can see that being the final result of that fight, but I think the build up to that fight has to be, it's like your powers are taken away from you. You have a fall from grace. You have to try and like redeem yourself and prove yourself worthy beyond this item that is this kind of all powerful machine.
Oh, do we get Captain Britain dual wielding the blades, the two swords?
Maybe, but I think that the important. I definitely think.
Can we get a Count Dooku death?
We could get a Count Dooku death, sure. But I think that the main thing is you're kind of right and wrong in that it's like you should definitely end with cool thing. He has the sword.
Yeah.
He's able to defeat Merlin. Merlin is kind of in his final form or whatever with the magic powers. Then you have initially no sword.
Yeah.
Need new sword or fight. That, right? So you need that kind of drive. It could be drive.
I think
my brain is so fried today.
I think the Ebony Blade is sometimes a symbiote sword.
Is it now?
It's either the Ebony Blade or it's the Necro Sword.
Is it some null shit?
I don't know if it is.
Okay.
According to the Dark Null, the Ebony Blade is a symbiotic divine weapon. Ooh. So we can have it do like a similar effect to the Venom voice when...
Eddie.
Actually, it would be really good if we're told... Like, throughout the thing, we're told that it talks to you and it tempts you with, like, things you want. And then we don't ever... It's never shown...
Can you repeat that? Because my brain is so fried.
Yes.
That I heard talks to.
Terrible.
I am so tired.
So, it should get to the point where we never see the Blade actually communicate with anyone.
Converse with. Yep.
Until the moment that Captain Britain actually picks it up. And it should be the kind of...
Oh, so the Ebony Blade's kind of been silent since the Eternals moment.
No, it's just that like you have to be holding it to...
And no one's been holding it.
And no one's been holding it. And so so the movie never shows that someone wielding it. You just have Kit Harington talking about how much it tries to tempt you to do bad things.
Right.
But then when Captain Britain goes to wield it, it's not like an evil temptation. The temptations should all sound very reasonable. and that's why it gets you. It's more like smooth talking you into like, hey man,
it's rationalizing evil deeds.
It's like, hey look, we just need to kill that wizard, right?
Much like how the UK rationalizes evil deeds.
So true. You're so.
we're really bringing it back to.
The UK does rationalize evil deeds in one political way or another.
Yes.
Make a statement without saying anything at all.
Yes, perfect. That is the MCU way. That is the MCU way. We have to make a statement without actually making a statement.
Yeah.
Or we got to run it back right at the end.
Oh, you have to do better, Senator.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, what we need is that Captain Britain turns around to like the Prime Minister at the end and says, "You should do better."
Prime Mover Minister.
Prime Mover. Fuck's sake.
Right. I want to get to the end of this, and I think we are there.
I think we're genuinely there.
So, all I'm seeing is that like the discovery of like, oh shit, I think it's Merlin behind this, but I'm not sure. And then you can have them discussing it, and like not in the back, like they're talking to Merlin about it, and Merlin is being very strategic about where he's standing, and like what he's doing, without you as an audience member realizing what he's doing until he's like standing right by the sword in the stone.
Yeah.
Because say after a mission, Captain Britain always has to put it back where it belongs.
Yeah, he shoves it on the ground.
And then he just wields it and I'm gonna do something evil.
Oh, so this fight happens in MI13?
Well, no, that's how he gets out and escapes.
I quite like it happens in MI13 because that gives an immediate reason as to why the Ebony Blade is even in effect. Because the Ebony Blade is probably stashed nearby. Glass gets shattered by whatever Excalibur's doing.
And it's,
oh shit, right, I need a weapon right now. Fuck.
I don't think that's the fight, though. I think that there's a fight that everyone loses and Merlin wins. Merlin goes to...
But that's maybe where the initial thought of grab an Ebony Blade.
Merlin goes to Stonehenge to
off.
Summon a something.
He's a little druid.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna
Merlin travels all the way back to Somerset, where it all began.
He's like,
Camelot.
I'm gonna reset.
And then he has a Cornish pasty on the way.
Yeah, he's like... Anyway, something like that is happening. Yeah. And then there's a moment of like, shit, the only way to defeat him is with the sword, but it's going to corrupt us. And then Captain Britain having to wield the sword, and then the sword is just like, yeah, let's go fight him, man. He's like, I thought you were gonna like corrupt me. I was like, no, that's cool. We've just got to kill the wizard, and it's like really nonchalant about it. And then it's only after he's killed the wizard, he's like, right, so I guess this makes you king now, right? Like you're in charge of Britain, you're king, and he's like. And it's like the scrolls were the royal family.
So king. We end this with Captain Britain being the king. Brackets
in black.
Negative.
King in black.
Negative.
Yes.
Oh, I really like that.
Yeah.
Yes. So we tie it back all to the thing of Captain Britain should be the monarch.
And then Kit Harington has to be Captain the white knight.
No, but everything else you said was cooking.
No. But you do end it with like the new ruler of Britain. Is Captain Britain.
And they don't address this for another 5 years.
Oh no, it's addressed in Secret Wars when he's given England kingdom.
The Captain Britain court beats him up and then says, "You should do better, Senator."
Yes.
That's it.
I think we've got it. I think we got
it.
I can't talk any longer than that.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Yeah. But you have him be like this goofy, like you know how that's awful. Don't do that again.